The first time I traveled on a plane, I was 3 months old. I didn't know how to speak. I had never said the words mom or dad, and somehow I was still able to board on a 9-hour flight. My mom and dad were taking my brother and I to start our new life in São Mateus, Brazil, or given our age, to start a life at all. A Mexican little girl who didn't even know her own name, but little did she know this was only the beginning. So, long story short, there goes the timeline. 2003. We arrived in San Mateos. I had my first birthday there. The next thing I know, candles were packed and we moved to Recife. 2004. Age 2. I was learning how to walk and I was succeeding at it. 2005. The next thing I know, I was walking in Macaé in Brazil. 2006. I said my first word, in Spanish, surprisingly. As I was learning how to speak, I had to learn how to speak Spanish at home and Portuguese elsewhere. 2007. Still in Macaé, we finally settled there long enough for me to remember the name of my own school. I made friends! My very first friend, I still remember her name, Gabriella. She loved lemonades. 2008. I had to say goodbye to Gabriella. We both cried. 2009. Settled in Natal, I was wondering, this sounds like a sad story. But it wasn't that sad. Every school I moved into, I met more friends, I did more sports, I had a new room, I could decorate with different curtains and decors and painted a different shade of pink. It was a little girl's dream to have met that many playgrounds, if you ask me. But it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. There was a time in my life it suddenly stopped. All the fun, all the new flashy cities I lived in, I was done. When we moved to Colombia in 2010, I couldn't help but think, why make friends if I'm going to move anyways? Why make memories if those memories would end up packed in a box and shipped across some country in America? Why bother? I couldn't put myself through the process of changing everything about my life in a matter of months. At least I thought, not this once, not again. We lived in Colombia for 6 years. 6 years, where eventually I was just waiting for that news. I was waiting day by day for it to come. The one day, I got home from school and was thrown in with the news. We're finally moving again. Can you guess next? We were moving to Mexico. I was thrilled. Mexico, my country, my nationality, the place I've always heard about but never felt connected enough to call it my home. I didn't need to give this place my all the effort and trying to fit in, to find the new people I could be friends with for a while. It was not going to be for a while. I could finally set in. Since then, I've done a lot of reflecting on change and what it means for me specifically in my life. Until this point, change meant starting over. Change meant leaving, and leaving everything behind, which is a scary feeling. Each time I was terrified I had to do it again, but at the same time, it was like a ticking bomb in which I knew I had to eventually go through it one more time. But looking back to it, here's what I've learned. Here are my tips and tricks on how to thrive on a changing environment. Confessions of a girl who, up until the age of 17, all she knew was change. Number one, change is scary. It is. To have something you felt like was established and firm vanish in front of your eyes, we are not taught what to do when it happens. We are not taught what to do next. But change is also inevitable. Truth is, life is unpredictable and circumstances can change in an instant. Sometimes change is forced upon us and we have no choice but to adapt. Other times we can choose to make changes in our lives to improve ourselves and our situation. Regardless of how change comes about, it can be a catalyst for growth. And in my opinion, it is the only option to do so. With change, We are faced with new challenges. We are forced to develop new skills and learn new ways of doing things. We may discover talents we never knew we had, or find solutions to problems that we previously thought were unsolvable. Number two, I know firsthand it is unsettling to step out of our comfort zones and try new things. But you should do it. You can do it. I gained this new perspective in life where I discovered there is nothing you are not prepared for, even when you are not prepared for it. Every skill in life is learnable. It is a toss of a coin. We never know if this change will be better or it can turn into a catastrophe. But that's the beauty of life. It's full of possibilities. The way I see it, you either break being stuck in routines and habits and find new experiences, new people, new opportunities, find a new passion, find something you never knew you needed. The worst thing that can happen is that you grow. And that's the worst case scenario. To develop your character, to add obstacles into the story of your life, to fall and come back together, but stronger. Which led me to my third and final call on this big word change. It can be difficult. It will be difficult. But it wouldn't be fun if it weren't. It can be hard to let go of old habits and ways of thinking, and to embrace the unknown. We may feel like we are losing a part of ourselves, or that we are giving up something that is familiar and comfortable. But if we can push past these feelings and embrace change, we can recap the rewards of growth and adaptation. So don't be afraid to do it, as long as you stay true to yourself. Always stay in touch with who you are, where you come from. Don't forget where you belong, and certainly don't forget where you're going. I'm sure your life is waiting for you to jump in, waiting for you to meet the new people you're destined to meet, to see the places you've always dreamed about. So open yourself to it. Open yourself. Say yes to change. 5 years into living in Mexico City, I realized something. All this time, change had been forced upon me in a way. I had no choice but to follow along wherever my parents needed to go and work. I just did it. I was very comfortable living in Mexico City. I had my family, my city, my school, my best friend Mauricio. So what did I decide to do next? Move to Monterrey all by myself. A place I had never been but only heard the best stories about. I was going there. I was determined. So I left my family behind. I left my best friend. I left. I was questioned a lot by my family, by my friends. Naomi, why are you living? Everything you could ever want or need is here. But once everything in my life was settled, I found myself longing for change. I wanted the secrets and the opportunities that the future holds in change. So I just did it. I don't mean to be that person whose sayings go along the lines of change is the only thing constant in life. But I do. I mean to be that person to tell you if you're comfortable doing whatever you're doing, if you're physically and mentally comfortable right now in the metaphysical space that you're in, give it up. Get out of this comfortable space. Seek discomfort. In seeking discomfort is where we find true opportunity to find ourselves within. Yes, I was terrified to move to Monterrey. I still am, but I am so excited with everything that can happen here, all the possibilities. So I didn't see change as a scary thing. I saw it as where my future will take me to meet my future goals and intentions. So I invite you. There can be little things in your life that you can change right now. Your routine, the bus that you take every day, deciding not to watch YouTube while you're eating and decide to read a book. Change is always an opportunity. And I believe you will find great things within you when you discover what you have to change. So seek discomfortable. Get out of this comfortable place. Don't ask yourself what's the worst thing that can happen. Here's a new question. What's the best thing that can happen? Thank you for coming on my TED Talk.